Yes, okay, it's been Azoh, and today we're going to take a look at the 720 changes that came out recently. And I don't usually do these kinds of videos, I'm just very confused, so I kind of want help from you guys because I need an answer here. So I'm going to get to that. First I just want to take a look at, I saw the edge and night changes, and I have no problems with this. You know, 80 being lowered 5, not that big of a deal. The active being increased from 30 to 45 is really good, honestly, because currently, I mean, Electrolytes is an interesting item, right, with the spell shield with the ability to kind of dive into teamfights a little bit better, but what it's actually used for is just like a very, very consistent assassination. So if you have a Quinn running at you with a spell shield, with 3 lethality items, meaning she gets, what, 60 extra movement speed out of combat, with Yoma's active, with Swifties or whatever she builds, like, and with her ultimate movement speed, she's gonna catch you, and you need to hit 2 spells. You need to hit the spell you don't really wanna use on her, so you can hit the spell you want to use on her. And then hope that with that spell is gonna be enough to dissuade her from not coming closer. It's difficult, and it's very difficult to deal with overall with lethality bursting so hard. I have no problem with that nerf. And, you know, as a concept, no problem with the item itself. You do kind of lose a little bit from not going CDR, so if you rush it, well, you have no CDR item, and it is kind of specialized towards MR, so like AP damage. No problem with it. What I do have a problem with, though, Bork. Okay, Bork has always been a very interesting item build, specifically for assassins, right? I don't think it was intended for assassins, but it was one of the staple items for original set. So back in Season 3, everyone built Bork on Zed. Faker said that Zed didn't work without Bork. The item was meant for him. And I had no problem with that. I mean, recently, lethality is kind of the new meme, but I still think there's a precedent for Bork. And I don't know what the thought was behind this. Like, I can accept changing items or even changing the ideas of items, but answer me this. I'm gonna go through the item, but answer me this afterwards. Who's this intended for? Like, who was this change intended for? Which champion? Which champion group? So, they lowered the price from 3,400 to 3,300, right? It was only the combined cost being lowered. They increased the attack damage from 25 to 40. Now, already I'm kind of skeptical here, because the idea with Bork is that you're saying, or you were saying that I'm going to fall behind on AD a little bit, because 25 AD for an assassin, for an AD assassin, is not very much. You really want to get at least kind of 50. 50 is kind of the bare minimum for a slot where you want to, like Black Cleaver used to be 50. 40 now, still fine, because the active, but 50 used to be like the, sure, you can get by with that. 25, but you're saying, but I'm going to get more value for all the attack damage I do have, because I'm getting a lot of attack speed. So that used to be the really, really heavy hitting point, right? Where you had like 400 AD, but you had no attack speed. So you were losing a lot of value from losing like 3, 4, 5 auto attacks per fight, because you didn't have any attack speed. So that was the idea, where like you were losing out on an extra 60 AD, but you were gaining that attack speed to gain more efficiency for the AD. But now they're lowering the attack speed to 25%. It's almost a 50% reduction. So I don't understand, because then you're both saying, so I want to get Bork because I want to get the attack speed passive. Basic attacks deal 8% of the target's current health in bonus physical damage. Lifesteal applies on this damage. So what you're saying is I want to get Bork because I want to get the passive to deal extra damage with my auto attacks, and I want to get some efficiency for my auto attacks, but I don't get enough attack speed to get efficiency, so I need to get another attack speed item, which means that's another item I can't get AD from. And, you know, that trade-off is not really worth the 15 extra AD. Sure, they're lowering the cost by 100, but it's not really worth it. But then you might say, well, they increased the lifesteal to 15%. Sure, but you don't attack as much. I mean, yeah, 5%, that's also a 50% increase in lifesteal. That's really, really good, right? But that wasn't really what the item was intended for, especially since you get less value because you're not auto-attacking as much with that lifesteal, with the 5% extra lifesteal, and you're not auto-attacking as much with the passive. On top of that, and this is the weirdest change, or possibly the weirdest change, the active. Active used to be deal 10% of target's max health as physical damage, and self-heal for the damage dealt. It was very good against tanks, for the obvious reason that their max HP is very high. There was this interesting kind of execute mechanic where you wanted to do auto attacks first, where you deal basic attack. Basic attacks deal 8% of target's current HP, and then when they were getting lower, especially with Zed, if you've ulted, you would deal extra damage with the active and then steal, because that was still of their maximum HP. But now it's 100 magic damage. And no self-heal, so you couldn't get the value where you were waiting, kind of keeping that as a trump card where you could suddenly heal out of nowhere. But they increased the movement speed steal by 5% and the duration from 2 to 3. So I don't really know. I guess maybe they want the magic damage to be consistent with the cutlass magic damage. But who is this item for? Who is it for anymore? Is it for assassins? I'm assuming it's for assassins, right? But they didn't really need this change. This is not very good. And it kind of removed the interesting aspects of the item, where you didn't really want to ult immediately. You wanted to have it as a trump card to like steal movement speed, to stick to targets. You still stick to targets, but I don't get it. Am I missing something fundamentally here? Because I'm just not following at all who it's for. Like, who this change was for. Is it for AD carries? They're gonna buy more attack speed anyway, I guess? But why would they want the magic damage? They're gonna buy less Whisper. Do they want a magic damage to tanks? Is it because they want more lifesteal? Like, this should be a viable lifesteal option? I guess maybe that would be the only solution I have. Like, yeah, for AD carries, you don't have to buy BT anymore, you can buy Bork. Which, I guess, you get a little bit of AD and a little bit of attack speed. A very little bit of attack speed. I don't know. I honestly have no idea. So, yeah, do let me know, because I'm lost. Also, side note, please don't let this be... Please don't let this be what I expect it to be with Varus, okay? So if you don't know, the cooldown's been increased by 4 seconds at every rank, and the total AD damage ratio on the maximum damage is lowered by 15%. And then they say if you Q someone with W on them, it reduces it by 4 seconds to basically the normal cooldown. Now the risk here is that you have the unfortunate Riot treatment that happens sometimes, where they have items or masteries or spells or anything, or summoner spells, anything being broken, and then the champions who benefit from that, they become suddenly broken, and then they nerf the champions, and then they nerf the items, and then they don't buff the champions. Please don't let this happen to Varus. I don't think any writers watches my videos, but if they do, please listen to me. Don't let this happen. If you do nerf lethality, when you do nerf lethality, keep an eye on Varus, okay? Good. That's all I wanted to say. Let me know, guys, if you have any idea for Bork, or if you think I'm wrong, if you think this is a great change, do let me know, because I'm honestly curious. This used to be such a staple for Zed, and such an, important item that... I don't know. Like I said, Faker used to say that this was Zed's item. That was it. So... it's hard to say. Other than that, I mean... Riot's getting nerfed, sure, I don't mind that at all, but... man, It had its mechanics and interesting... mechanics. It had its interesting parts, right? The steal, the trump card, the stickiness, the percentage damage. And now it doesn't really, like, it's like you don't really want it to synergize with itself, because that's what it did, it synergized with itself, and you had to trade off for the AD, but now it's like, give it a little more AD, less attack speed, so you kinda need to build more attack speed to benefit from it, but then you don't get the AD, so I'm assuming this isn't for assassins anymore, because you want them to, because that was the idea. I'm going over the save grants again, sorry, this is just really strange to me, because that was the idea, where you would build an item that synergized with itself, and gave you more efficiency for the AD, but now it's like, I mean 25% is not bad, but why? What's the change for? I don't get it. So, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. I'll be streaming Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, etc. So, I'll see you guys then, okay? Thanks for watching. Peace.